Sorry, Dave, we'll resume.
Yeah, no problem. So, as I said, Huey asked me to help out with this program. So I'd accepted based on three main beliefs that I had. One was that Huey has done a lot for the communities in Whitewater region, especially Beachburg, but definitely all the region in terms of hockey and recreation in general. Kayla herself loved hockey and kids and had given a lot herself to minor hockey. She assisted me as an assistant coach for 2 years of minor hockey. And lastly, because I do enjoy working with kids. I love seeing them have fun. I like seeing them grow and benefit from learning both socially and agility skills and things that will help them in all aspects of their life. I'll let Huey talk about the financial aspects of the program and what he's looking for, but one of the things I can do is I can attest to the merits of the program itself. I've been involved most Wednesday evenings with the kids since September, and about half of the Saturday mornings assisting Mike Badbury. Most of you who know Mike or are familiar with hockey probably know Mike. He's one of the region's best skating coaches and one of the best hockey coaches we have in the region, and he's volunteered to come out and help as well. I've seen a group of kids who literally may never have had the opportunity to skate or play hockey now have an opportunity to do so. From the very first weeks when we came out, we had over 70 kids out. It was mildly mayhem the first week, but we had lots and lots of volunteers to help, which was great, picking kids up off the ice. And from the first day, we had about 15 kids who had never been on skates, and they were going around on what I call those little walkers, basically things they push around. Within a month, we had all of the kids to a point where they no longer needed those. And by Christmas time, we had all of the kids where they could capably skate to some degree, skating forward. And at this point now, we have all of them skating reasonably well forward and backwards. We did have a number of kids drop out for various reasons. But the crew that we have now still have a lot that come out twice a week. We have some that only come out once a week for various reasons. And we do have some that only come out occasionally. And that's okay. That's what the program is all about. No pressure on the children, no pressure on the parents. Often they have other commitments, as I mentioned earlier, family, jobs, other recreation, etc. One of the things we do at each of the ice times, we try and do a little game of some sort at the end of the ice time. Earlier in the season, we started out doing little kids games, things like Simon Says, Mr. Wolf, Cops and Robbers, etc., just to get them the activities of moving around on the ice, etc. Since January, we've tried to incorporate a little half-ice game and a bit of a scrimmage at the end for about 10 minutes. But we still have a group of kids who would much rather play the kids' games at the end of the game than hockey. And again, that's okay. That's what this program's about. It's not necessarily about making these kids into hockey players. It's having recreation for them, things they can do, go out and enjoy and build skills. So we accommodate them. For myself, it's a pleasure to go out each week and see the kids enjoying themselves, building their skills, building their confidence. We've received numerous compliments and thank yous from parents with regards to the program, as well as some suggestions on how we can improve the program going forward. And I personally feel the program is a great asset to the parents and the children in the region, and I think it should be continued to be supported. Last week, we took a survey from all the parents who had registered children in the program and looked to get their feedback. So what you've each been handed there in the number of sheets there is some of the raw data, but the last page of what you got is a summary of that data. And that summary is we had 78 children registered in the program. Of that, there were 68% were boys, 32% were girls. And of all the parents we tried to contact, 62 responded to the survey, which is a 79% response rate, which is quite significant. So out of those that did respond to the survey, the children that were registered in the program ranged from 4 to 12 years old. 60% of those were in the 4 to 6 year age range, so a number of very young ones. 87% indicated that they would not have played minor hockey this year if this program did not exist. So if there was no program, they would not have signed up for minor hockey or other forms of skating. We also surveyed the parents and asked them to rate their child's skating ability on a scale of 1 to 5 before they started the program and also at this point in time. And virtually all of them indicated that there was some improvement in their child's skating ability, and overall there was a 44% average increase in skating ability based on their parents' evaluation. 96% of the parents indicated that their children enjoy coming to the program. 95% of the parents feel that their child has benefited from the program in one form or another, and an amazing 100% of the parents said they would recommend this program for other parents. 75% of the parents expect that their child will sign up for minor hockey in the next 2 years. That was not necessarily a goal of this program, but it is a significant outcome, I think. That equates to about 45 players joining the minor hockey system in the next 2 years. From the survey, I noted that 3 had already signed up for hockey this year. Huey had mentioned to me that he thinks the number is closer to 7, and that would be maybe from some of the parents that I wasn't able to reach and get responses from. And as I indicated earlier, there are a number that stopped coming out since the beginning of the year for various reasons. And in the raw data there, it indicates some of the reasons, and there are great variances there. From some, there was a few who lost interest. There was one child who said it was too cold, and it was a cold winter, so that's just the way it is. But there's others that one had a broken leg, one had a broken arm, one was the brother of the kid who had a broken arm, he can't come out anymore, and those types of reasons. And that's all fine and dandy. But again, one of the nice aspects of the program is it's a no pressure for the parents in terms of financial commitment, in terms of time commitment. So if they can't make it out with their children for whatever reason, they don't feel pressured because of it. So again, some of the objectives of the program from my perspective are that we're to provide a no cost, no pressure, fun recreational activity for any child in the region, to encourage learning of skating, balance and agility, and basic hockey skills, while building self-image and self-confidence. And that second part of that is quite important, and I was quite impressed in some of the letters, if you get a chance to review those, the feedback that we got from the parents. Most of the feedback we got, some of it alluded to the hockey skills and skating skills, but most of it alluded to the other aspects of it, and the social skills and aspects that are brought to their children. Building lifelong social and team skills while playing with others in a safe and supervised environment. Help children understand cooperation, team play, and fair play, and to provide a recreational outlet for children who cannot participate in other activities due to many reasons, including financial, work commitments, family commitments, etc. Again, it's something where all children are welcome in the program, even if they have no desire to ever play organized hockey. As I saw from the survey results, I think that's an added benefit of the program, that a number of the kids indicated that they would be doing that in the next couple of years, but again, it's not necessarily a core objective of the program. So, again, I encourage you, if you get the time, please do read the letters that were submitted. I think they offer a lot of support to the program. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any questions from Council? Councillor Jackson?
Just a question, was there any fundraising activities with the parents themselves that was put forward, like skate-a-thons or anything like that?
Not at this year. I didn't do anything with them for that. We did have enough money already put in place for this season, so I wasn't worried about the fundraising part. We'd raised, it was over $6,000 this year for the program.
And that was through fundraising itself?
Through individual businesses.
Okay.
And some, like, in-kind donations, too, from some of the parents that felt, I'll give you $100 towards programming. So.
Awesome.
CAO?
And there was a $1,500 contribution from the municipality.
Yes, there was.
Councillor McCaw?
I've seen the program quite often, and everybody seemed to be enjoying themselves, and parents told me that if they put them in minor hockey, the kids might lose interest, so they wanted to see if they were going to stay with it, and that seemed to be one of the reasons, and it seemed logical to me.
It's like Dave said, when you put no pressure on a parent, because it's not so much a child. Every child, if they like it or try it, they'll probably like it. It's the parent that comes to the rink and is afraid to spend $450 for registration, $500 for equipment, not knowing if the child's going to like the game. That's the bottom line. What we provided for them was a chance to come out and try it. If they like it, figured out now that 75 would probably sign up hockey in the next 2 years, which means that they probably will put the money out into their kids once they know they like the game. That's the thing. And then the other kids are just having fun, and that's great, because that's our bottom line for our kids in our region. There's more than just hockey skills involved with the game of hockey. Like, anybody that's played it has been around it. There's a lot of life skills involved in the game, and that's what we're providing it, and it is definitely shown.
seeing the increase you have in skating ability, I want to run my Bantams through your program.
With Mike teaching it?
What does it cost now to sign up for hockey, for minor hockey?
I said, I think it's in the $425 to $450 range. And that's at any age group. It doesn't matter if it's a 4-year-old or a 17-year-old.
Okay, so quick math, at $400, at what, 45? So you're talking about $20,000 infusion into minor hockey.
That's right.
From families.
Yeah.
Pretty good spend.
It's a contribution.
Anybody else have I have another question if nobody else has one? So other sponsors, I do know that you had some other investment into the business as well, or into the program as well, right?
We had 15 to 20 sponsors. Actually, I have a shirt out here somewhere that's I presented to council when we got the money last year, and and everybody I've called already this year are on board again, and including we've got the Krista Johnson Memorial has actually contributed $1,000 towards it next year, and Beachbrook Public School has contributed $400 towards it, or their parent council or something. So but we are going to be going ahead. And we talked about it last year that I'd like to see us put in the bulletin, or I guess in the tax bill in August, one of these papers out to all our residents for everybody that receives a tax bill. So which would increase how many taxpayers are in the region? 5,000 probably. Somewhere in there. So if 5,000 families got that paper, I'm realistically figuring we're going to have 100 children sign up in this program next year. That's pretty realistic. I was aiming last year at 50, and I was certainly under that by about 30. And that was with only a couple weeks basically putting time into it. So I don't doubt for 1 second we'll have 100 kids next year, which means increased ice times, which we're probably looking at 3 hours on a Saturday, an hour on a Monday, and an hour on a Wednesday, just to make sure they get on the ice twice a week. So even the numbers we had upwards of 25 to 35 on each ice time on Saturdays. And then on the Wednesdays, even the time at 4:30, we had anywhere from 15 to 30 on a Wednesday at 4:30, which is pretty tough to get kids to the rink at that time, but they showed up and they just loved the program. So, but in saying that, even on, I figured out we needed 26 hours per ice time for each day. So Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays we'd need 78 hours. We're looking at a total, and that's even at $100 an hour for ice cost, which it would probably be a little less than that if I'm sure I can work it in. But it's still looking at, even at $100, we're looking at about $13,000 for ice, just to look after it. So, and again, depending on 100 kids, and the other thing I'd like to do too next year is because if we do go to 3 hours of ice time for these kids, I'd like to go get some coaches to take some the coaches courses. So put a little bit of emphasis on a parent too to go and take it, to be part of it on the ice, which they're about $150 a course to take the IP course. That would help them. So this will all come out of our money too as we go into it.
Okay, any other questions? Huey, Councilor McLaughlin.
I'm just wondering, Huey, you probably have no idea of what percentage of children this year. I know you've said up to 45%, was it, would go into minor hockey?
75.
75.
Yeah.
Of the kids.
In the next 2 seasons.
2 seasons. So if we even split that in half, then would that be a realistic figure for the children going into minor hockey, or?
Well,
I'm just trying to get a.
But if we have 78 that was signed up and we had a percentage of 75, we'd be looking at 50, say, going in. And I think that number is high, to be honest. I think it is high.
That's over 2 years.
But it is over 2.
Split in half, roughly.
Yeah.
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 So that's quite an increase then for minor hockey,
Yep.
which in my mind, when I voted towards this, was to try and get more children back interested into the hockey program. That's what my feeling was when we started, and I'm certainly glad to see the numbers that you're bringing back with.
Yes. And as I said, Councillor McLaughlin, is whenever we started this, that was one of our goals, is to make sure that we get our minor hockey back. But once this started, and to see the kids and to see the parents and grandparents and the fun that these kids have, I'll tell you, there was one parent. It was a simple story. One of the kids got a chance to play hockey, and his brother was watching. And the dad said to me, he says, how old is this program for? And I said, well, originally we were going to go 4 to 7. That's the IP program age. And then we said, maybe we're better off to go to 4 to 9 because a lot of novice players didn't get a chance, so they're still young enough to try. But then I said, if all of a sudden I had some couple 11 and 12-year-olds wanted to try this, and I said, why are we not expanding this to whatever age? Because if these kids didn't get a chance to play the game, they may join hockey next season anyways at Pee Wee, if they get a chance, if they've never tried it. So anyways, I was talking to this parent, and the young lad was 10. And he says to me, would this other young lad be able to play? And I said, how old is he? Well, he's only 10. Absolutely. Let's go get him equipment now. We'll get him on the ice. The face on that young lad, I'll tell you, was priceless. I said, right then and there, that's what this program is about. We're giving kids a chance that never had a chance. And it's just, I said, it's not just about hockey. It's the life part of it, and it's awesome. It's just, and some of those letters, I said, I hope you all get a chance to read them. They're incredible letters, and that's why we do it. That's why we're doing what we're doing, and it's also part of the mental health problem too. We've included this with Kayla because I want to make sure that parents and kids know there's avenues and to talk to people about it. So it's just not about the hockey part; it's about everything. So, and Robbie Dean Center too, they're getting involved with us too in this part, and it's all very important to the community, I think.
Yes, Councilor Rieger?
I just want to add that I was one of the proud grandmothers watching my granddaughter out there, so thank you. That was it.
Huey, you've been a great benefit to the community. I've heard that from all corners of the community. And having said that, I'd really like to see a template for Whitewater. I think this thing has a great chance to expand beyond Beechburg boundaries.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope it expands beyond Whitewater boundaries, to be honest with you. If everybody has an hour of ice time somewhere in around the areas, that's where it should be going. Because it's been great.
It's not about hockey, I agree. Thank you.
Thank you. No, Dave. Never mind, Dave.
Yeah. Sorry, Huey. Just confirm the ask is for $2,500
Yes.
in funding support?
Yeah. That would be 1 hour roughly.
Okay. Great. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Sorry.
Next on the list, Cobden Beach Plan 2015 recommendations from CAO. Floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So further to the Muskrat Watershed Council's discussion of the lake, last summer Cobden Beach had a myriad of problems, and I believe that the cascade began when we couldn't run our swim program because we couldn't get an instructor. Annette tried very hard to I did this job in high school. You have to have Red Cross certification as an instructor. It's not always easy to find that person. They're usually, in the 17, 18 age range, working for minimum wage. So, and because we couldn't get the swim program going, which we usually run for 2 weeks, and that discourages the birds early on because there's human activity at that beach. There was no human activity. The birds took over between the geese and the seagulls. The seagulls just moved into that raft, and the geese were all over the beach, and then we all know what birds do. So we had Elmer down there trying to rake it up as best we could, but we were getting just bombarded with emails and angry phone calls about the disgusting mess on the beach. And then, of course, and we try and run the swim program early because every summer we end up with the algae bloom problem, and then, who wants their kid in the water when it's like soup? And then we had to close the beach 2 or 3 times with E. coli that they came and the Renfrew County Health Unit came and tested, and then the beach was actually closed permanently for the summer in August because it was just, the levels were too high and they were never going to mitigate and go back down again. So what I'd like to suggest to you this time to try is that if we could maybe reverse the order of those problems People are advertising right now for their swim programs, so I'd like to suggest to you that we up the pay to something like $15 an hour so we can get somebody who's qualified, interested in this position. It's also a large responsibility for the safety of the children, so our past practice has also been to hire a swimming instructor assistant. The program in total, Marcia and I worked out, would be in the $5,000 range. We did charge a fee to participate. I haven't been involved in this before. I'd have to go back and look, but we would offset some of those costs by whether it's $50 a child, or we'd have to go back and look it up about what we did in the past. But, so, we didn't run the program last year, and then it just created this cascade. And I'm not trying to tell you that having a swim program is going to solve all of our problems at Cobden Beach, because it won't. But what it may do is give the public at least some part of early summer where the beach is swimmable and not a horrible bird-infested mess. But there's not much that we can do about, we know the algae bloom more than likely is coming. The E. coli issue was exacerbated last year because of the bird droppings.
Councillor Jackson?
I agree that we should get on to this sooner rather than later. In the past, the CAO made the call to Pembroke and maybe even perhaps to Petawawa, to the pool, to see if there was anybody that they could recommend or that was looking for a position. The former CAO indicated that over 20 years he was successful every year of getting somebody by doing it that way, and that the pay was the pay as it was. Perhaps if we're having a hard time filling that position at that rate, maybe it could be brought back at that time. But over the 20 years, he did indicate that by phoning and asking for recommendations and to see who would be interested in having a job for the summer and at what level they are at, helped. He also indicated that, is it Elmer Winters, opened and closed the washrooms, both at the park and down below at the beach, and that he did the cleaning and made sure that, the toilet paper and the paper towel, whatever was required, that he did that. It was felt that the people that are running the beach program may not have the time, and if they close the beach, if they clean it, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, if there's no swimming lessons at the time, then are they closing it at that time, or are you going to leave it open until Elmer Winters comes and closes it? It worked well in the past. I would suggest that that be continued, and we can go ahead and advertise, but I think maybe the first phone call would be to them, and then if there is nobody successful, I'd also maybe give Armpire a call, because some of the people from Renfrew attend Armpire to take swimming lessons. But most of them at that high level go to either Pembroke or Petawawa because it's offered there.
Councillor McKay was up next.
I was thinking if we're going to do that to Petawawa and Pembroke, maybe we could offer them a driving bonus, some kind of mileage, because some teenage with a car coming out from Petawawa, it's a long way to drive, and, you eat up your $15 an hour pretty quick. So maybe that would be something else we could add to it.
I think the recommendation was for those areas because they have pools, not necessarily the person would be from that area.
I know, but if they are from that area,
Right.
if they're coming from Pembroke, they want, or Petawawa, they probably need that.
Christine?
Particularly if you're going to reduce the fee from 15 to the minimum wage of $11.50 an hour, I believe is what's currently, then, what shall I offer? $11.50 plus mileage? Or a flat rate? I need some kind of direction now, because if I'm going to be casting about, it is, thank you for sharing that information from the previous CAO. I wish someone had left that info for me, but no one did.
Reed Miller?
I'm just curious, Elmer Winters do that on a volunteer basis? You do pay him, I'm just curious, okay, thanks.
Councillor McKay?
I think you should stick with $15 and then maybe put the gas thing on top. Because if they live in Cobden, we don't have to give them gas.
Anybody else? Yes, Councillor?
Can I just clarify, are we talking one position here? Two positions. So we're going to create two positions for this beach?
This is the way the program has been run for years.
And one's at $15 and one was at $11, right?
Yeah, 11.50. It's about 5,000 in total, and then it's about 5,000 in total, and then that's offset by whatever fees are charged to the children per swim participant.
Do we know, was there interest last year and we just didn't get on it early enough?
Yes, there was interest last year, and I guess Erica wants to say something. We made a deal with Boncher Valley so that, and I can't remember the rate, but that they were offering the same rate to the families of Whitewater because we couldn't provide a program that their residents were paying.
Erica?
Okay, sorry. That's great. Yeah, perfect. I know last year when Annette did the canvassing, she did phone the pools, she phoned all over the place. The year before, the girl that we did get did come from Petawawa. And then we usually got Rihanna Johnson, and we'd gone, Rihanna I think did it for as long as I was here. They got her, and they also got another girl with her. They're Savannah Mahoney, yes. But the year Savannah Mahoney wouldn't come because her and her mom were gone someplace, they went, and Annette called around, and that's how she ended up getting the girl from Petawawa. And I can't remember what her name was. Yeah, that's right. She came down from Petawawa, and then her and Rihanna both. And then Annette did call both of them back again, and they both had other jobs.
Well, we may be early enough now, early March, to try and reach out to the people that we've used previously who've been successful. Is the direction that am I authorized to go ahead and try and find someone for $15 an hour plus mileage?
Councillor McLaughlin? Sorry, did I not see your hand up?
I do have just a comment. I think maybe try $15 an hour to start, see if we can get somebody. And I mean, we can always up, we can't go down. So I would say, see at $15 an hour and the other one at $11.50. Is that strictly, and that was strictly beach? They never did anything at the tourist booth?
All they did. They ran the swim program 2 weeks, 2 individual swim programs of 1 week each, and they did the entire thing, the registration, the advertising, all of it.
And are they both qualified instructors, or is one qualified and one not?
The instructor has to be Red Cross certified, and then certainly there was a list of qualifications for the assistant. They didn't need their Red Cross instructors, but they certainly needed some Red Cross certification, like a bronze.
I just for clarification, I wasn't sure on that one.
So do we have somebody making a motion? Do we need to make a motion?
If you just give me that direction, I don't know. This is a program with...
You have a remuneration bylaw for part-time staff. Do you have that set? Or, and I think there should be a motion, yeah. Sure. Why am I still on?
So they're employed all summer? Are they there like 8 weeks? Oh, it's only for 2 weeks. Okay. Yeah. For 2 weeks.
Kathy, I can see you doing the math in your head. Yeah, so how did we get the 5,000?
No, actually, it is longer than 2 weeks. Yeah, we do have them here working, like, they have to prep, and they have to get the beach house ready. They have to prep, and they have to get the beach house ready. They have to get their course material. So they were here probably about a month, like a week, and then a couple days after to clean up and everything else. So
I did have down here in my report to you the hours that that's right, I'm sorry, I forgot about that.
250.
The hours that we found, 256 hours and 280 hours. So that was prep and doing the advertising and getting the whole thing organized and then putting the programs on.
So it sounds like it's a full summer job. Pretty much. 6 weeks.
Because they don't start until July, so July and August. So,
So, question is, do we extend the meeting past 9 o'clock tonight, or do we postpone the Economic Development Committee meeting, which is slated for 30 minutes?
I vote to postpone. Want to go home.
Only because you're chair. Be it resolved that Recreation and Culture Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region directs the CAO to advertise for 2 positions for the summer swim program at a rate of $15 for the instructor and $11.50 for the instructor assistant. Moved by Reeve Miller, seconded by Councillor Mackay. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Next item on the agenda is Taste of the Valley Planning 2015 CAO review. And Taste of the Valley this year is October 17th, 2015.
can we postpone that one? Like, can we table that, or is there something that has to be decided today?
No, I could just give you in 20 seconds. We have our first planning meeting planned for May. It's the subcommittee is a subcommittee. This is the way it's been done in the past, and it's worked very well. A subcommittee of the Recreation and Culture Committee. It would be chaired by Councillor Olmsted, the same chair traditionally. And we have several groups in the community. Eric and I have been the staff presence, and the Civitan Club, the Agricultural Society, Cobden, the Farmers Market, and the Township have been the partners in putting this on. Now, last year, and what I will table for another meeting, we had a mud bowl. It rained like crazy last year. I felt so sorry for those poor vendors in the tents. So we can't, the field is just a non-starter for us. And we are now having an issue with the Cobden Arena, who want to charge us $2,500 a day to rent the parking lot so that we can have the vendors up out of the field. And we won't have to rent that large tent, which is very expensive, and put them in the parking lot. So that's the issue that needs to be discussed, that we're being asked for rent for the facility that we own. So anyway, planning meeting's coming up. This is the 8th annual, and we always hope that full council will come and spend at least part of the day helping us, especially at the end when we have to round up the garbage and do all the really fun stuff. So.
Councillor McLaughlin?
Just for clarification, is that the parking area, or is that the arena area?
The parking area. We don't want the arena, but anyway, I won't get into the details.
Okay,
of
no,
that tonight.
I just was curious on that one.
The parking area is the only area left where we can bring them out of the mud, or the potential mud if it rains.
Okay, yes. Whenever you're going to do that, I'd like to sit on this committee if possible.
Sure, why not? I mean, it's a committee made up of volunteers and interested people, whoever.
Yeah, no, I realize that. Last year I was wanting to sit on it, I didn't get to sit on it, so.
Councillor Mackay?
Yeah, don't count me in for cleaning up because I'm at the carp market. I sell lamb every day at the every Saturday at carp market. So when you're cleaning up and you're thinking about me, I'll be at the carp market. Okay. So get that in your mind now. For later. Thank you.
So are we putting this off for future discussion? Is that kind of what I'm hearing for Taste of the Valley?
Seems to be, and I don't want to leave it too long. And I've already posted, I sent out to you a draft meeting schedule, and the meetings are already really stacking up. Perhaps would it be all right with you if I put that on the agenda for the March 25th regular council meeting? Because there's going to have to be some back and forth with Cobden Rec and...
So can we put that on the March 25th agenda, and I'll make a visit to the Cobden Rec Committee to see what the issues are as well. Maybe provide a recommendation.
That work for everyone?
Is that good?
Next item, Doug and Steve.
Item number 5, accessibility plans for rec facilities, CBO and Environmental Services Manager.
Good evening. Steve had to leave for a little while, so he won't be back tonight. What we did in 2013 and 14, we went over all our buildings that we had and provided a list of work that had to be done. We have done quite a bit of the work if you go through the graphs, and the last council had given us direction to work on the tourist booth. So we have drawings being prepared for the tourist booth to do for accessibility. We're just waiting on probably grant money. But this year we're doing the Forsters Falls Library and the parking lot at the back with the back door. So just to bring you up to snuff.
Yes, Christine?
Thank you. But the drawings that you have for the visitor center, which is a primary facility, obviously, with the numbers that go through there every summer, we have the drawings done, but we have no money to do the actual construction. That needs to be budgeted.
That's correct. The drawings are not quite done, but they're very close.
And they were funded by?
They were funded by, Steve had it in his budget through the recreation.
Yes, okay.
Or through accessibility.
And just so all of you are aware too, parks, when we brought Aqua in, Steve had a bit of capacity within his list of chores, so he's been helping us with issues that have to do with parks. So that's sort of how that landed on his plate. So we will have the drawings, and that building is not accessible. It has some safety issues. This would also be to improve the bathroom in Cobden Park, which is associated with the visitor center, which right now is not accessible. So we're hoping that as you look at this list, that would be a project that we could move ahead with in 2015.
Just unclear, so what we're reading here is the accessibility and priorities, and then recommendations to council at the minimum to do at the current time.
Yes, that's right. And then you'll see work completed, and that's work that we've completed up to date.
I don't see anything in that area.
Not the first page.
Okay.
Just let me check and see what you have, because Hope did one today.
So you've had, you had one on the desk?
Okay, I hope we're on the same page. Okay, I'll give you a few minutes to take a look at that.
Yes, the issues that we had talked about here were, there's obviously an awful lot of accessibility work that needs to be done to our buildings and facilities. Much like the asset management plan, we haven't really been, we need to start managing these assets and prioritize them. What are we going to work on first? When are we going to budget the money? And certainly a staff recommendation for 2015, once we get these drawings, we're ready to go to do the work required on the visitor center, which is a very high-profile piece here.
Question for Marcia. I know most of the arenas or rec associations receive funding now. Is there any asks to receive that funding?
No, they don't ask. Are you talking about the annual grant that we give them? Okay. Last year was 14,000 and some. They don't ask. That's just something that we've always done. And just so you're aware that it increases, has increased about 2% each year. We do not tell them what to do with that money. Where they go, they're not to report to us. That's just been standard.
Reed Miller?
Yeah, I'm just confused a bit. Is this the same rec association we were discussing a minute ago that wants to rent us our parking lot? Am I mixed up here?
That would be...
Or was that someone else?
No, that's correct.
So we support them to that tune, and they want $2,500 a day to have Taste of the Valley?
Well, from my understanding, all rec associations receive funding in various amounts. I think the three arenas receive the exact same funding.
Right.
Right. So...
Maybe Darrell has an answer for
Councilor Coffin?
Just for clarification, the gentlemen that were sitting here, they were from Beachburg. They were looking for the $2,500 for that. Is that what you were talking about?
No, he was referring to the request for the Taste of the Valley, not for Kalis Kids Club.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant were these people here the same ones looking for the $2,500? Okay. No, I understand. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, Doug. Did we interrupt?
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just going to read the motion to extend the meeting. Be resolved, the council and committee of the Township Whitewater Region agrees to extend the meeting of 9 o'clock, March 4th, 2015, past 9 p.m. No end date, no end time. To 10? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Yeah. Councillor Jackson?
What is the requirement with regards to accessibility for municipalities for buildings? Is it that you have a plan in place, or that you actually have to budget for it or have them complete by a certain date?
Well, there is a certain date when we're all supposed to have our buildings accessibility. I think it's 2021. We have been working on it. We have a plan, and we're working on the plan. They seem to be okay with that, but we have a deadline at some time to have them accessible, so we're trying. That is our goal.
seems that over the last few years, the provincial government has been reticent to set a stamped-in-stone date because I think they're pretty aware that we're all struggling with this and how we're going to fund it. But, and Doug's right, as long as, right now, that we meet the bare minimum requirement of having a plan and chipping away at it seems to be satisfactory.
And just to mention, all the accessibility, the work that we have done, major accessibility has been done with grants. So we kind of get our drawings ready, we kind of wait for a grant to come up, and then we apply for it. So by getting our drawings ready, we're ahead of.
Councillor Jackson?
So are you looking for direction once this plan is complete, the drawings are ready, or are we just going to put it on the budget list just for all the other items? And
I think that we're well in the process of doing the tourist booth if grant money comes up or budget money. I think the next building that we have to look into is one of the 4 arenas, and we're looking for direction to start looking to the future to get, some drawings ready or whatever.
To prioritize this list, I think that's where we're, we have identified what needs to be done, but this list has not been prioritized or years put on it, or we haven't gotten that far yet.
Any other questions or comments? So do we need...
Doug, was there anything else that you had in mind that you thought we should get going on for 2015 over and above the Visitor Center?
Well, I think we're doing a lot in 2015. They're doing the library, we're doing the back parking lot. We may not have funding or grant funding for 2015, but we will try and see if we can find it. Definitely, we'd be ready for 2016 for the tourist booth if we don't have funding available. We would go that way. But we have to start looking in the future with the arenas, how we want to deal with them. So we have to start having a plan, because if the tourist booth goes ahead, then we got to pick one of the arenas or whatever to get our drawings ready to go ahead in the future.
Councillor Jackson?
can I make a recommendation that we table this and we include it in our asset management plan? I think all facilities and all that should be updated as well, so that we have a good look at the whole municipality and not just the Quarry Central, and take a look at it then. Is that okay?
Definitely.
Everyone agree? Yeah? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Last item on my agenda, the Recreation and Culture Committee's agenda, is a parade float. Councillor Jackson?
I attended with Paula Troutman with regards to the World Kayak event, and they were looking, and I know we talked about the parade float with regards to the banner, and I'm wondering if the banner can be a little bit more, useful, so that's not just for the parade, that maybe it can be put up, in Beachburg or put up in Cobden at different events, and I don't know if there's any kind of wording that we can add to it, or a space where you can add wording at any time and take wording off. I don't know, but it was suggested that, she was looking for a banner to be put up in Beachburg, and I said, well, we're looking at replacing the banner for our float. Perhaps something can be integrated with regards to that, and I would see if there's a cost or anything like, you can promote the Beachburg Fair, or just to get, because it's the Beachburg Fair, but it's the Township of Whitewater Region welcomes you to the Beachburg Fair. Township of Whitewater Region welcomes you to the Cobden Fair. Like stuff like that, so that if you can make wording changes, I would suggest that we try to find that out.
Christine?
Yeah, you definitely can. The Taste of the Valley banner that we fly every summer, the vinyl lettering is just stripped off and then replaced. So what I can do, and Rick Yakulski, local did that for us. I can get some prices on a double-sided banner with spacing for vinyl lettering for specific events. And then that could go on to the float, and then it could come off there and be used for, that's a great idea, for multi-purpose. But I'll look into fees for that and for budget time.
It could actually almost even be two banners, right? Whitewater Region welcomes you, and then bottom would be another separate, you could have a multitude of banners.
Yeah, the Cobden Farmers Market does that for Taste of the Valley with their new signage. They have what they call a tile that just goes onto the bottom, so there could be a separate piece of vinyl that could just be added on. And I guess when we were talking about the parade float last time, the discussion needs to include where does it live, who's responsible for it, who decorates it, what parades is it going in. I believe that was... No? I'm wrong?
Councilor McLaughlin?
I think if you look back in the minutes from last year, like in January of 2014, I think I had said that I had put it away, parked it, and declined as being chair of it. And that was with the old council, and my wishes are the same. I'm not interested in being the chair of it. So just to reiterate what was, and I think it would be probably in the January 2014 if we put it away then.
Councilor Jackson?
I think the question that Darrell had at the last meeting as well, sorry, Councillor McLaughlin, had at the last meeting was whether or not we were going to participate in the March break parade, the St. Patrick's Day parade on the Friday night. And I don't know if anything's been done with the actual float since we talked about it last time, if it was moved or still stuck in the snow, if it's been torn down by staff or what. I don't know, has any of the roads crew at all looked at it? No, I don't think anybody's looked at it. So I think it can be part of, I don't know, was it meant to be part of the council's actually to do it, or is it the Township of Whitewater's float and the councils or staff or kids of whoever can go on it and that employee time be used or what? Like, I don't know how it came about, who bought it. I don't think it should be just council responsible for it, but that's just me.
Councilor McLaughlin?
Well, just to give council an update, it was, I started first. It's my wagon. I built, Jacob Brook and I built the rack what's there now. We built it, and that's how it began, because when we first started, we were using a hay wagon, and very shabby, not really, was very hard to decorate, so that's how it all started at that point, and then that's how it kind of ended up on my shoulders, and every year it seemed to be, I would get it out, and we decorated at Christmas time. The council did it. Staff never had anything to do with other than transporting it. So that's just an update on how or what happened in the past now, whatever this council wishes.
Darrell, did you donate the wagon? Is it Whitewater's wagon now?
Well, it's donated. I guess so. The wagon stays with the float.
Okay. And
So-
Bill, is there any room to store this thing at any of our facilities? So can that continue in the future? Reeve Miller?
Where is it right this minute? Outside at Fortress Wells? And you got room to put it in? You got room to slip it in? I think do that as soon as we can to get it in and out of the weather.
Councillor McLaughlin?
Before we put it back where it was before, the banner has to come down because there isn't height in the building to put it in. That's, it needs to be taken apart.
Does anybody have opposition of Bill's staff doing that? Can you do it? Yeah. Is it? Okay. Christine?
It's always been, since the 2.5 years I've been here, it seems to be a little contentious about these issues. Who looks after it? Who decorates it? I know Tally did for years. She's got a real knack for decorating. She's mentioned to me that she doesn't really want to participate in that anymore. So the fundamentals are the who, what, when, where, why, and how. Who looks after the thing? And when you decide that it's going to go into the St. Patrick's Day parade or whatever parade, who's in charge of decorating, who hauls it out, who gets it organized? Does it fall on staff to do? Staff, I think, don't really have the capacity to be decorating floats.
Councillor Jackson?
Can I make a suggestion that if anybody's interested in the St. Patrick's Day Parade, if not, that we table this and we ask staff, maybe the CAO or your staff, to find out what other municipalities do. Do they allocate staff time to do that? And I don't know if Tally was given hours in lieu of the time that she worked with that, or if it was volunteer hours on her behalf. But it is a kind of an economic development. It's getting our name out there, Township of Whitewater Region. It's representing the Township of Whitewater Region at different events. And I think that's important. I think it was well received at all the Christmas parades. But how do other municipalities deal with it? I have no idea. I really have never been involved with going on a parade, so I'm lost.
Doug?
Thanks, Bill.
Councillor McLaughlin?
That I was going to say maybe there's room at the Forces Falls Fire Hall that it could be put in. I think there's one empty bay. I'm pretty sure that the old truck is in, at least it was there the last time I was up. So if you'd have a look and maybe it can be put in there and like Doug says, get the snow off of it to start.
Christine?
Thank you. Well, actually, do you want to go?
Yep. Sorry, I saw you up first, so.
Yeah,
okay. Kathy?
Questioning, rather than putting staff in a position of having to, we've got about a month and that it's going to be cleared off because it's March. So it has sat out all winter. What is one more month? Could we just leave it for 1 month and let the snow melt? Would that make any sense here? And then move it in?
The snow's never going away.
Pardon me? Well, just a suggestion.
Christine?
Just saying.
Thank you. I guess more immediately, whoever invited us to be part of the Douglas Parade, I gather they would need an answer. Obviously, it's coming up really soon. And then, and Marcia informs me that, yes, Tally did use staff hours to be decorating it. And I certainly agree with you, Councillor Jackson, about the, economic development importance of this. It's just a matter of, adding on yet another duty to staff time, and I'm sure you're... Yeah. I'd like to look in to see, Erica, you and I can take that on. Let's see who else has a float and what they do. Maybe they've got some community volunteers. I don't know. Andrew, are you any good at decorating? Oh, yeah.
So I guess there is a question, is anybody interested in participating on that Friday night? I know I'm gone. There's 3 no's, 4, so said you'd be on by yourself. So we can leave it outside.
So do we need?
That concludes the Recreation Culture Committee meeting. And do we want to postpone the Economic Development Committee meeting?
Before we adjourn, where will I reschedule this? I would suspect by the time we get Andrew's report, and Andrew, I'm very sorry that you've had to sit here all night and listen to the fascinating discussion and we can't get to you. I think we need, especially if we're going to get into initiatives and that gets the ball rolling on strategic planning. I don't know, Mr. Chair, what do you think you're going to need for ACTEV? 45 minutes or an hour, I would suspect, to reschedule this. Yeah. So before we adjourn, can you give me direction, please, on how I'm going to reschedule this?
Councillor Jackson?
Can I ask a question with regards to item number 2 with the development initiatives for 2015? Is that kind of like a budget item, and can that be brought up at budget meeting?
What I was looking for there is that now that the committee has changed you've changed the committee name, I didn't know if the scope was the same, what projects you have, do you like this list? Are there changes to be made? We could do a separate strategic plan update meeting, but, that we have an awful lot of meetings that we're going to have to shoehorn in here somehow. So it was either begin the conversation here or, alternatively, wait for a strategic planning meeting. But I thought it would dovetail with right on the tails of an update of what Andrew's been written in stone. But obviously, we need to know what your, where do you want to go with economic development over the next year or two, not only for strategic planning, but for budgeting. What are we budgeting for? We certainly need to budget for Andrew's projects. I mean, he's got several on, that he wants to get underway, but we haven't funded them.
Can that be a whole discussion at budget time, or like that department sort of doing an update with regards to their budget requests?
It could be, and maybe that's the best place that I could fit in a mini economic development meeting into. It's not going to find a good fit no matter where we put it, so you folks tell me where you want it, and that's where I'll put it.
Are we coming back next Wednesday? The 11th?
We have a meeting scheduled, help me, is it not on the 12th? The 11th is our water and sewer budget meeting.
And do you think it will take the full amount of time, or do you think there's time for that?
Well, we have a water rates and sewer rates discussion to have in conjunction with the budget. We could start off getting this Economic Development Committee work done and then go right into water and sewer budget.
It's just a suggestion.
It's the only time frame we've got. Okay, that's what we'll do then, if that works for everybody.
Reid Miller, do you want to take over number 7, councillor announcements?
I will close the meeting.
Yeah. Do we need to go through the last couple of things here?
I missed that, sorry.
Yeah. Do you have it there?
I gotta get my glasses. This is it. Where are you, Chris? I'm sorry. Councillor announcements, okay. So I'm just asking here, is there any councillor announcements? Is that what I'm... Okay, Charlotte, or Councillor Jackson?
With regards to the kayaking World Championship, there's a couple of requests, and I just want some direction with regards to how we get those done. One is, there's 2 requests for letters from the mayor. One, supporting the Prime Minister to attend the World Kayaking Championships. And 2 is a request to have a military request for a flyby. they need authorization to allow, specifically state as low as 500 feet and no lower than 500 feet.
Annie's working on finding who we have to address that letter to, because I know from previous experience it's very specific, and if it doesn't go to exactly the right person, but could you email me all that info in the Word?
Sure.
And then,
And maybe Paula can update you as to who needs to be contacted,
Sure.
if she's been contacting? Okay, I'll forward that.
thank you.
And then with regards to just inviting the Prime Minister as well, on behalf of the township, to the kayak. Whether or not we would loan a large Canadian flag from the township to the event, just loan it. Okay. From Mayor Banner, anyways, I think it's, the other thing, anyways, I'll bring that up at the time when they decide, but they are trying to decide whether or not they're going to offer each year they offer an award to the best athlete for the week. And typically it's presented by the mayor of the area, and I suggested that perhaps we use if the township actually donated the prize, that we could get perhaps the logo of the township done in wood by Tally Moore's father. And so I have that request to them if that's what they want to use. And I thought at that time, if that's the way they go, maybe we could donate that. And it's at an approximate cost of about $200 to $300. But once they decide whether or not they'll use that as the elite award, I'll bring that forward at that time. But I don't think there's anything else. It looks like they're going to get Hydro One down there. I was able to contact Paul Hedrick to get permission ask them to use temporary power down there, and he has suggested that it's very likely that they will, because they have done the same sort of thing for the plowing match and those things, and he's prepared, and he's in contact with Matt McGuire, who's going to attend at the site and get that looked after for temporary power, which is huge. And they're also getting, from Hydro One Forestry, they're also getting some logs and branches that they're going to use for flagpoles and for the Ring of Fire. And Hydro One Forestry is going to be on the lookout for those. So that's another thing that I was able to do for them.
You know, also we're donating a number of Whitewater Region with the small flags that they're going to include in their decorations. Paula was saying, or Andrew was saying, somebody.
I see that a number of things, and I haven't approached this with Paula yet, but I would like to, is that like Hydro One Quebec, Ottawa River Power Corporation, they're all sponsors on their website. I'd like to see the Township of Whitewater Region sponsor their logo be on that sponsorship, you know, because we have donated Andrew's time for that event. I believe we're donating his time as wages and his help in that, and I think that would be helpful. So I am going to bring that up as well, so that we actually get a logo on the sponsorship. Anyways, that's my update.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else got, Councillor Mackay?
I just want to add that they're getting the Beachbrook Fair for the opening, and so that's another thing from Whitewater, so maybe they could, but they're a little bit cheap. They don't want to put any money in it. Yeah, I'm just saying that they're getting a lot out of this township, so, but they're cheap. They don't want to put up any money, like the outfit, the international group or whatever.
Everything's funded by the organizers, so they're looking at a $0 budget. So they're looking for a lot of donations, and like I said, I was able to, hopefully, they're on the right track with Hydro One to get the temporary power down there, so that's a huge cost savings for them. And also for tall poles to be able to put communication towers up or something. They're going to work that out.
Okay. Councillor Rieger?
This weekend is the Westmead Winter Carnival, and it starts, for the school on Friday afternoon, but it'll be on Saturday and Sunday. They have a pancake breakfast from 7 to 10:30 Saturday morning, and I'm sorry. And they have a closing of a spaghetti dinner Sunday evening. So, and in between that, there's lots of events. There's that. And the only other one I have is that there will be a St. Patty's dance, and that will be held at the Orange Hall in Beachburg on this Saturday. I believe it's the 15th. And that's everything I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor McLaughlin, please.
I'm just wondering if there's any interest in the trivia at Day I Call this Saturday. I put out an email and just wondering to see if there is, that's fine. If there isn't,
If you, I can be available. Paul's away, so I could play.
Okay, that's enough of that. Now let's move.
Just a reminder, I'm away as of next Wednesday to the following, actually, so I won't be here next Wednesday night, to the following Monday, the 23rd.
Okay, any other councillor announcements? Yeah, I imagine they'll give you a call, Darrell, if they're interested. They got the message. But if you'd like to talk about it a little longer, we got time.
no, that's fine. I'm happy.
Okay.
Okay.
I know you are. So, I'm going to pass it back to our CAO. She's got something called Notice of Motion she wants to tell you about.
Yeah, this is a standard part of our agendas, and I may have left it off the last council and committee. Notice of motion is when any member of council informs the clerk of items that they'd like to see on the next agenda. So, Councillor McLaughlin has requested these items be placed on the March 25th agenda, prayer at meetings, meeting agenda delivery, and the recorded vote process. And if there are any other notice of motions, you can inform me now.
Anybody want to do that, or should I close the meeting?
What'd you say the three items were again?
The prayer at meetings, meeting agenda delivery, meaning when you get your agendas, and the recorded vote process.
Don't we already have a prayer at the meeting?
Councillor McLaughlin would like a discussion regarding which prayer, I guess I should have written down.
Okay, hallelujah.
Yes, I'd like to add one, communication with staff.
Is that being brought up at all on the April 11th meeting or whatever that is? Where we're having it in the in-camera meeting, is that being brought up then? I don't know.
I did send out an email today to council. I'm looking for direction about the in-service meeting that was requested by the mayor and council for, it's April 8th, I believe. We didn't set a time. I know Councillor Jackson, you had responded about either morning or afternoon would be better for you. So we're still looking at setting a time. I need some information about how to draft an agenda, who is going to lead this. I don't have any details provided to me by anyone about how this meeting is supposed to work. But it's the in-service, what council's expectations of senior staff are, and that was requested by the mayor. It has come up at previous meetings, and that's scheduled for April 8th. Certainly, one of the agenda items could be communication with staff, if that's where you feel it fits. But it would certainly work there, but I am going to need, perhaps when the mayor gets back, someone can fill me in on what's the expectation for the agenda, because I have no idea.
I don't know if he's receiving emails or not while he's away, but
Receiving
I-
text, you wanna hear from him?
you think...
Do you wanna hear his instructions for tonight's meeting, or right here?
Are you serious? I think wait until he comes back. He was the one that called it. I have no, I don't know what he wants on the agenda. If anybody else does. News.
Okay, that's it then. Can I close her up, CAO? Okay, be it resolved that the March 4th, 2015 Council and Committee meeting of the Township of Whitewater Region be adjourned at 9:31 p.m. All those in favor? All those opposed? None? Yep, okay, good night, thank you. There's your paperwork.
Kristen, just a real quick thing. Tracy called me at home today from Sipple thing. Yeah. She had left a voicemail here.